Hello there, I'm back again. It's me, Susie. Susie's Spirit Ramblings. I hope everyone had a wonderful Father's Day weekend. It was more than a Father's Day weekend. It was a huge weekend for this nation. No King's Day was a full success, with over 12 million protesters around the world. And the parade was, as Linda G would call it, a true nothing burger. So I thought it was going to be canceled, but I think the cancellation was not necessary because it showed exactly who we're dealing with. So, thank you for joining me again. For those of you new here, my name is Susie. I'm Susie's Spirit Ramblings. I keep wanting to call it differently. Maybe I should change the name of the channel, but right now, Susie's Spirit Ramblings will do well. And on January 18th of this year, fully frustrated with what was going on, I decided to start writing. And I was writing about my thoughts about what was going on here in this country shortly before the inauguration on January 20th, which I dreaded, and I'm sure many of you did as well. And I asked my spirit guides to write with me, so I just put my fingers on my laptop keyboard and started writing with my eyes closed, whatever came through. Obviously, there were some messes I had to clean up from mistyping, but most of it was very well legible and very clear. When I was writing, I thought, does this even make sense? And then later on, I thought, yeah, this makes perfect sense. And so I'm sharing it with you, and I'm hoping you are enjoying it as much as I am writing about it. Today, my spirit guides were actually on fire. So I had a lot to talk to them about. So my intro of what I was thinking is fairly long. And what came through from them was heavy, we would say in Germany. Heavy. It was very deep. So I'll read from that to you and share it with you, and then we'll go and look at a few cards and see what the cards have to say about it. So I hope you enjoy this as much as I'm enjoying it. And we're just going to start. No King's Day, June 15th and June 16th, because I wrote today. So there we have it. Yesterday marked No King's Day alongside Flag Day and the Orange Man's authoritarian birthday parade. It was supposed to be a celebration of the U.S. Army's 250th anniversary, but of course the Orange Man took it upon himself to try to shove a North Korean-style parade down our throats. 9,600 attended, is what I've heard. That's not even 5% of the projected 200,000, and the majority of them were paid actors. Ooh. On a day that 2 Minnesota senators and their significant others were shot, 2 of whom perished, the damn parade should have been canceled. But compare that to over 12 million who took part in peaceful No Kings demonstrations across the country and around the world. I'm so proud that so many are standing up against this madman. He looked so incredibly silly sitting there on the verge of tears. Everyone there was bored with the parade. I'm sure the military had fun coming up with the most boring presentation possible just to humiliate the Orange Man. And it would seem that he is not being properly advised by his staff. He wasn't aware of the number of protests scheduled. No matter how difficult the man is, I feel that is a complete failure of leadership. I'm sure had he known, he would have called off the parade. Or perhaps that was the point, to humiliate him. That's an idea. But I thought he was surrounded by adoring followers, isn't he? Or did Vance and Teal perhaps put him up to this humiliation? We need to have a few flies on the wall to report back what's going on inside the WH in Washington, D.C. Now, Israel has attacked Iran and is requesting that the United States get involved. I wonder if that is another ploy to have United States troops involved in international conflicts, eventually to assist Russia. This is a tangled mess that we live in, but our nation currently has no functioning leadership. A headless bunch of crazy makers running around the administration playing make-believe regime like 5-year-olds. It's disgusting. So embarrassing. We need to bring all of this to an end now. More disgusting is that representatives and senators are not even thinking about taking steps to remove this entire administration, or regime as I'd like to call it, acting like all of this is just normal. Midterms, they say. Yes, sure. So this week is the G7 summit in Canada. We keep expecting something to be unearthed at an international level. The people are standing up in this country demanding change. They actually stood up at the election, but I still firmly believe that that was miscounted on purpose to put the more orange man in. We need to stop acting like we're powerless and take charge of our lives. We need inspired action. The 12 million plus protesters did just that yesterday, and protests are working. But now what? Will that inspire our representatives to stop sitting on their hands and do more? All I hear talk about is midterms, the midterms. No, that's not good enough if you ask me. We need them to uncover the truth, investigate the fraud, push out the troublemakers, impeach or otherwise eliminate those who should not even be put into power, even been put into power in the first place. Why is this taking so long? What is going on astrologically, energetically, to make this such a drawn-out process? I feel the same in my life. I feel like I need to do something, but just don't know what. I'm at a standstill, not knowing where to turn. I feel powerless and drained day after day. Horoscopes are telling me I'll be coming into my power soon. Okay. Without any support otherwise, I grasp onto that hope at least, and feel almost silly doing so. But, in fact, I'm drained. I feel very weak, with no purpose. Much weaker than ever before, if I'm honest. Until yesterday, I was still hanging on to hope that my former boyfriend would change, but I realized how naive that idea is, and I told him so. 2 months after we reconnected, and he has still not made any move to bring us back together on a physical level, just by phone, text, videos, video chatting. That's all I got. That's just not enough for me. Tonight, or yesterday night, in our Zoom meeting, we all looked into what we might foresee for the upcoming summer months. Lori of the Way of Positive Change asked us to picture a map of the U.S. to see where we saw some major weather events coming up. I saw hurricane weather across Florida in light gray, with darker gray areas on the Atlantic coast going up towards the Carolinas, and then darker gray areas spanning from West Virginia downward, making sort of an inverted C curve across the central time zone area into Texas. I'm hoping that's not wishful thinking, because I really don't want another full-force hurricane to hit here this year. But no matter where it hits, though, it's just going to be massive. We need to prepare ourselves, emotionally and physically. And I'm hearing thunder outside as I write. Oh man, our world is in for some major weather problems this year, I fear. My guys already predicted earthquakes from Japan across the Pacific and bad weather from the Atlantic coast of the U.S. into Europe. Ugh. So I stopped writing and I continued today. Today, it's the next day I write. Another day has passed and I continue writing. We're now hearing full reports, my sister reminded me this morning, about how the election was stolen. It hasn't quite reached mainstream, but it's getting there. A sort of sigh of relief as I explain this to friends, who still look at me, though, with doubt and statements like, well, but what about Vance? Well, if the election was fraudulent, I respond, then he is out too. Completely logical to me, makes perfect sense, though I guess not for those who haven't been thinking about this as much as I and you may have. Uncharted territory, definitely, indeed. Should I just be quiet about it then? No, not really, because we all need to be demanding answers and more. And the world needs to know the United States is not to be seen equivalent as this fraud of a president who today is making a fool of himself again on a world stage, speaking not on behalf of the United States, but on behalf of, you guessed it, Russia. No groveling to the P-man. No, he's groveling to the P-man, is what I was saying, at the G7 summit, saying in public how bad it was for Trudeau and Obama to have thrown Russia out of the G8. Russian talking points. Let's rewrite history here once again, why don't we? Forgetting that Russia was thrown out of the G8 because it annexed Crimea from Ukraine, thereby invading a sovereign nation in defiance of international law. You see, when I hope his plans to do something like the parade or go somewhere like the G7 fail, when I hope that he fails, I learn that in fact these are perfect opportunities to expose him for the fraud he really is. So even if I'd prefer they never happen, and my guides did say there was not going to be a parade, but maybe they meant it was going to be a nothing burger, even if I'd prefer they never happen, it always turns out to be the best thing after all, that they do happen. I'm learning to trust in the divine plan. I surely am. It turns out the parade was a masterful way for the military to in fact defy the Orange Man, as the troops did not march, but instead they walked to CCR, to the song Fortunate Son, that slammed wealthy draft dodgers originally back in the 70s, slamming wealthy draft dodgers of the Vietnam War, making a real mockery out of our chief bone spurs, draft dodger himself. Even in USA, even in the newspaper USA Today, is reporting on how fed up the American people are with the Orange Man and his regime. So, can we possibly hope that change is really just around the corner? Just a few short weeks away, maybe? 6 months into this nightmare and it feels never ending. Weeks feel like months dragging themselves out. But I feel like we're digging ourselves out of this hole, slowly but surely. So I take a deep breath and I say, Spirit guides, are you here? What do you have to say about all of this? And I copy a little bit of Rosie's insights and I say, I create a circle of white light. I step into it. I am protected. Talk to me, please. Breathing. And they respond, sweetheart, we can write all about this. You know things are developing the way we've foreseen. There's really no need to say more than what we've already said in the past. But we know you're looking for confirmation of your intuition. Yes, the Orange Man is making a mockery of this country and a real fool of himself. The world knows the majority of Americans are against him. Truthfully, the world really cannot take much action as the United States is a powerful, sovereign country. But there are conversations going on, primarily with former leaders like Obama. But again, we also see Liz Cheney is involved on the edge of her seat, calmly preparing and ready to take control of the GOP or whatever they decide to call the party in the future. The party members are literally destroying each other. Once all of this, the truth, gets out, and you only suspect a fraction of what this truth might be, there will be no more saving the Orange Man. Absolutely not. There will be no way to avoid the truth. I pulled up a truth card from Abraham Hicks. There will be no way to avoid the truth. His ties to Russia date back many, many decades, and the extent of treasonous actions will be very, very clear. Only those who insist on living in their bubble of falsehoods will hang on to his lies as if their lives depended on it. No one really likes to admit that they were wrong. Yet, as we have noted before, there will be other factors at play that will change people's minds. You will all learn that you depend on each other. Politics, scandal, and intrigue will be dimmed out in comparison to the necessity for you to work together to save your planet and your communities. Churches will be reminded of their true purpose as they reach out to the communities to provide support and let go of politics and dogma. Taking another deep breath. Spirit guides, you're really scaring me. Are things going to be that bad? An interim government will have some time to get this nation back on its feet. But it will be followed by a few rough years. Okay. No. Then they continue. The government will start humming like a well-oiled machine, just like you want it to, working on behalf of all people. Imaginary boundaries like borders to countries will start to fade as the world finally realizes just how artificial these borders really are. Anything artificial, i.e., as in, not in tune with the true nature of humanity, will finally start to become very distasteful to most humankind. As we've stated before, Mr. P really is no more. Said it every single. They say that every single time. The Orange Man is under pressure by the Kremlin. To keep his position, he must grovel. He must show the Kremlin that he can be useful. But it is actually becoming increasingly apparent that he has no clothes. He has lost his marbles. And no one in the international community is actually taking him seriously. He is no longer useful, not even a useful idiot. And in fact, they're realizing that he never was. But right now it's just a little bit too late for Russia. The country has already lost the war to Ukraine. Anything that comes out now against the Orange Men will be for the purpose of retribution only. Okay. The same applies to Bibi in Israel. His cities. And I send out my prayers to all of them. I send out light and warm love to all of them as we speak. His cities were attacked by Iran. His people will now start turning on Bibi. The only reason for him to start a war was to hang on to the tiny threads keeping him in power. They are not stable. They're not stable enough. They are ripping. They are tearing at the threads. They will no longer hold him. He's slipping. These are my guides speaking, as you know, right? So, after a while of silence, sitting there, I say, Spirit guides, what do I need to know? What can I expect? What should I be doing? And I hear basically a loud sigh from Spirit guides, and they say, Susie, it's never about doing. Never. It's about holding the light. You are a light worker. Be the light. You have started losing your confidence, and it's no wonder with everything that's happening. However, the events of the last few months that have been placed before you have been showing you where your strengths are. Light workers need to shine. They need to shine through for the vision that you share of a peaceful, loving world to manifest into reality. You wonder if you have failed. You haven't. You are learning new skills. You are learning to trust. You are redirecting your energy to an entirely new set of people. Those who you felt were against you are now turning back towards you, as you heard this weekend, as they learn to respect you for who you are and not take you for granted. Your light is still shining through despite how much you have experienced in your own world and in the world you live in. All is truly well. Continue what you are doing, feeling, learning. Continue listening to meditations, meditating on your own, talking to and through us. Continue talking through us. Your messages are being heard. There is light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm thinking, you sure it's not a freight train? No, there is light at the end of a tunnel. It is bright. It is wonderful. It is glorious. There is, in fact, as you've always said, heaven on earth, if you allow it. Teach people how to allow love in. Teach them how to live and let live. Teach them how to forgive. Teach them how to stay calm despite stormy weather. You are not alone. There are many like you out there. There is a huge community of light workers and more joining the cause every single day. Breathe deep. Breathe well. Eat well. Smile more. Move more. Dance more. Know that you are blessed. We do not need to go more into what will happen in your politics. They are just the events that are making people stop and think, respond, and know what it is that they do not want. It's the contrast. Contrast. Think Abraham Hicks. Contrast. Just look around. 12.1 million protesters around the world. And so many more people now rejecting what seemed inevitable back in January. That is powerful indeed. A few more weeks. Things are, in fact, getting better and better and better. And not a moment too soon, because your planet will need an enlightened population. Yet, still, all, in fact, in divine timing. You've always been on the right track. Wow, I say, you guys are on fire. Just now with all of that. And they say, yes, we are. We're here for you to evolve. Okay. They continue, be proud to bring this out to the public sphere. Don't worry about the number of visitors on your YouTube channel. You'll be fine. The message will be heard. And the message will be appreciated. Okay. We love you. Get to work on your recording, they say to me. Thank you, my guides. I really appreciate all of you. I see Yogi smiling at me. I see Mommy, all smiles in the background. And my Max, my beautiful, beautiful Max. And I think you would fit well with your cousins, my darling. I wish you were here with me. You 3 cousins would be the 3 musketeers, one in America, one in Europe, one in Asia. Wouldn't that be nice? That would have been so wonderful. And as I think that and say that and write that, there are tears falling again from my eyes. Too many tears lately. And Max says to me, I'm always with you, Mom. I love you. Okay. Tell the 2 boys about me so that they know. So that they know that we are together. And the proud new generation. So cute. I will, darling, I say to him. Hugs, I love you. I guess goosebumps just thinking about it. So, there you have it. Trying not to cry. Anyway, when I was talking about truth and what our work is and what our purpose is, I was pulling from the Abraham Hicks cards. And we're on the right path is what they were saying, right? Always on the right path, no matter what decisions we make. And the Abraham Hicks card that came up was, I make many decisions. And I make them right. Your true work in this perfectly balanced universe is to weigh continually your new stimulation of thought against the existing beliefs within you, thereby deciding what it is you want. We know what we want. We've been experiencing the contrast enough now, and we want to move on from that. Not much longer. I keep saying not much longer, and people look at me like I'm crazy. We've got to get to the midterms. No, we don't have to. So, the other card that came out was, I see this day, here we go, as a positive new beginning. It's never too late to have a new beginning. I'm trying to get these right. There we go. Today and tomorrow can be very different from yesterday. If you can let yesterday go and focus on today and tomorrow about your now vibration, and you have complete control over that. Look for things that feel good about. Oh, wait a second. Look for things to feel good about, and watch how everything in your life will unfold to reflect that good feeling vibration. Right? So remember, love is always the answer. Remember to forgive, no matter what. You're forgiving for yourself, not for others, so that you can let go of all of that pain. So, today I have one of my favorite decks, but I don't usually use them on this channel because I'm afraid that they glare too much. But I love these cards, so I'm going to shuffle those and see if we can have a few cards in response to that reading. What else do we have to say? I'm just going to pull. I always say I'm going to pull one card and I end up pulling more. So I'll pull whatever comes out. How's that? All right. What do we need to know about the past weekend that we just completed, and how this week will move forward? I have the feeling it's going to be another wild one. Another wild week. Started off good in Canada this morning now, didn't it? Oh my goodness, he pissed everybody off. Of course he did. Yeah. Four of Cups. So he's sitting there not liking any of his options. Followed by the Queen of Swords. Who would that be? Ms. Harris, maybe? And for us, the Four of Swords. So, time to remember to rest. We're all exhausted. I'm sure you're all exhausted, just as exhausted as I am. So take time to rest, get some peace. Step away from the televisions and from the news, and go outside and hug your trees, or take your dog for a walk, or go to the beach, or do something good for yourself. I know it's a work week. I know it's Monday. You always have time to do something for yourself, even if you only take a few minutes of the day. So, what else? I've got the Angel Answers cards here that I want to pull one from. We actually should have a question, right? So, we're thinking the main question is always, how long is this going to last? That was a question we asked during these readings before. And is this going to last? Something in that vein. And I think we're just going to pull a card and see what the angels' answers are, right? These are the angel answers. Doreen Virtue and Radley Valentine. Abundance is coming. Nice. Abundance is coming. Okay, abundance. Abundance of love, abundance of forgiveness, abundance of wealth, money, good things, abundance of anything good is on its way to us. And that's what we want to see. Lots of abundance. That's a good card. What else do we need to know? La la la, I'm ready when you are. Just give me a card. This one's stuck. Ha! What did I just say? Let go. Let go. Let go. Stop watching the news. There's only so much news you can take, and then you have to realize you've got your own life to take care of. So, let go. Let go of anything that's hurting you. Let go of anything that's bothering you. And know abundance is coming, and you're going to be fine. Everybody's going to be just fine, right? Stop worrying. Worrying is the worst thing we can do, because worrying attracts more things to worry about. The universe thinks you want more to worry about. Okay, one more, Wisdom of the Oracles. I've been teaching myself that for I don't know how many years, but yeah. Wisdom of the Oracles, one or two more cards, whatever comes out, that's what we'll take. This one. What did I say about exhaustion? Time for a nap. I think all of this is telling us we need to stop worrying because it's almost over, right? And we're almost there. So there's nothing more we can do but protest when we can. The round and round card comes up every single time. You know what? I'm going to read that from the book right now because it keeps coming up. Round and round and round. So that one number is 25. Every single time I pull that round and round card. So essential meanings. The spiral quality of events when a lesson isn't quite integrated. Cycles you are challenged to break. Revisiting a pattern from a new perspective. So, the oracle message. The appearance of this card is a reminder that although it may appear that you've gone backward, the truth is that you are standing at a higher level, looking down into your circumstances. That is what I talked about a few videos ago. Remember when I talked about the spiral? Anyway, if you're new here, of course you haven't, but that's what I talked about. You will learn something, do something better, and break a cycle set up in the past. You actually have a bird's eye view of your initial footprints and can access the wisdom and lessons learned. All right. Relationship message. Are you wondering, how did I get here? Does something feel familiar right now in your dynamics with others? Maybe a little too familiar? Don't be surprised that you found yourself repeating an old story with some sort of person who may not look similar, but who attracted you because of your easy acquaintance with his or her qualities. Oh my God, that is so me. Your relationship is a mix of what is good and what is potentially challenging. You have been drawn to this person through the perfection of Spirit's plan for your evolution. So if we look at it from a collective point of view, we have gone back to round and round to go through another cycle with the Orange Man to learn something and to see things from a different perspective. And I think we are many different perspectives. Prosperity message. If you're in a scenario that appears to be an echo of something that's already happened in the past in your work life, it is because you're being invited to see what you couldn't see before. This is a perfect time for you to look at the deeper motives you have in your attraction to the opportunities and people who have entered your life to be part of your journey to prosperity. Who helps you navigate? Who sabotages you? Who supports you? What are the familiar signs and your response to them when you find yourself in repeat of a pattern of the past? It's a good time to get a coach or a mentor who can help you see what you can't on your own. Repeat what works, not what doesn't. Okay, enough. Protection message. Are you refusing to see your own personal responsibilities for repeating lessons you don't need to learn? You have to surrender now to the fact that you are the common denominator in all of these repeat performances. So, in other words, let's learn from our mistakes and move on. Alexa off. Music comes on at this time of day, every single day. And I didn't ask for it, but it comes every day. So, my dears, that was me again with my thoughts on this past weekend and what's coming ahead. And I hope you've enjoyed this video. I have a few things to cut out, but all in all, I love being here with you, and I hope to hear. I'll talk to you soon. I still have those scripts that I haven't done yet because I just felt like writing. So if I'm writing, that's what I'll bring to you. And if I have nothing of interest, well, I always have something to say. But if I have nothing to say, then I will move on. So again, this was the gold foil tarot. I love these cards. They're just pretty, but they're just they yeah. See, they're not all too good. Oh, look! When I pulled out one card, 6 of Wands. We're near victory. Let's get there. Let's get there together, and let's celebrate. I've got a bottle of champagne or prosecco actually in my refrigerator, waiting for the good news I've been expecting for quite some time. So, cheers to you. Love you. Bye.